Hello and welcome. This is the news at 7 on NTAi International. I'm Lami Ali. Bamidele John is a sign language interpreter. Let's begin with the headlines. UK government applauds gains of Nigeria's economic reforms, says difficult policies necessary for a better Nigeria. Nigeria reaffirms commitment to African Union's declaration on development, pledges sufficient funding to agricultural sector. Also on the news, head of the civil service launches second edition of directors training program, says ongoing reforms to strengthen leadership capacity within federal civil service. President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Japan for the 2025 Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD. After a stopover in Dubai, the Nigerian presidential flight 001 landed at the Haneda International Airport, Tokyo, at about 1 a.m. local time Tuesday morning. The Nigerian leader was received by Ambassador Hideo Masubara, Japanese ambassador in charge of TICAD. The president will in Japan attend the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 9, in the city of Yokohama from August 20 to 22nd, with the theme, Co-Create Innovative Solutions with Africa. TICAD 9 will focus on Africa's economic transformation and improvements in the business environment, as well as institutions through private investments and innovation. In addition to attending plenary sessions on themes linked to the conference, the Nigerian president will hold bilateral meetings and meet the chief executive officers of some Japanese companies with investments in Nigeria. At the end of the TICAD 9, President Tinubu will leave for Brasilia, the capital of the Federative Republic of Brazil, on a two-day state visit from Sunday, August 24th to Monday, August 25th. The state visit to Brazil is on the invitation of the Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Now, the United States mission in Nigeria has commended the Nigerian government and security forces for the successful arrest of two wanted Ansaru leaders, describing the development as a major step in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism. In a verified post on social media X, the U.S. mission praised Nigerian security operatives for apprehending Mahmoud Muhammad Usman, also known as Abu Bara, and Mahmoud al-Nigeri, popularly called Malam Mahmouda. The two suspects are said to be high-ranking figures in the Ansaru terrorist network, a group linked to several attacks in northern Nigeria. Their arrest is regarded as a significant breakthrough in Nigeria's counter-terrorism efforts, with the U.S. stressing that it underscores the importance of ongoing security cooperation between both countries. Washington further reaffirmed its commitment to supporting Nigeria in its campaign against terrorism and violent extremism, pledging continued collaboration in intelligence sharing, capacity building and operational support to help restore peace and stability in affected regions. The United Kingdom says it sees a lot of positivity in the current trajectory of Nigerian economy, built on the back of what it acknowledges to be difficult but necessary reforms by President Bola Tinubu. British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery, said this during an audience with Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, at her office in the Villa. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports.
It is the first formal engagement between Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu and the British High Commissioner Richard Montgomery, along with his team.
You relate more
Their conversation,
with the government,
which centered around a shared interest in women empowerment, took off on a note of acknowledgement, applauding the impact of ongoing economic reforms in the country.
And indeed, the UK has an enhanced trade and investment partnership with Nigeria. We are watching with great interest the new opportunities being created by the reforms of His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, your husband. And as I hope you have seen, the UK has been very public supporters of these very brave, bold and difficult reforms. We understand that these reforms create short-term challenges, but we see lots of positivity now in the economy, and our British business colleagues are looking at those opportunities.
Impressed by the track record of the New Hope initiative as a special purpose vehicle delivering empowerment to women in key areas, the three-man delegation is here to also have a better understanding of its policy initiatives.
We are particularly interested in the work which the RHI and you yourself have done to promote women's empowerment, but we have a very strong focus also on women's economic empowerment, both in the formal sector, such as banking, financial technologies, but also the informal sector.
Happy to avail our guests with details of RHI support for women in agriculture, business and ICT, the First Lady also highlighted the limit placed on our interventions by lack of budget.
And we're trying to meet the challenges in different ways that we can. It's quite tough when you have an office and there is no budget that supports that office. People expect much from the wife of the president, when it comes to social issues. And I think we just have to step forward to take such responsibility.
She agreed with her guest that the number of women in the National Assembly is dwindling and promised to cooperate with ongoing process to improve the numbers. A special seat bill, which seeks to create additional legislative seats for women in national and state houses of assembly, is undergoing debate in the ongoing review of 1999 Constitution. In the State House, NTAi, NTAi News.
Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, has expressed Nigeria's renewed commitment to creating a business-friendly environment for both domestic and foreign investors. This came up during a high-level engagement with California Africa Climate and Economic Delegation in Abuja. The delegation, led by Secretary of the California State Transportation Agency, Dr. Tax Omishaking, had conversations centered on sustainable transportation, clean energy collaboration, technical cooperation, and infrastructure developments. California's global strengths in technology and venture capital were presented as key drivers to position Africa's green enterprises as globally competitive players.
There's a lot of potential for partnership on the technology front. Universities partnership is also a key area, and I'll close with this one, creative economy.
When you talk about trade policy, you know our position. We welcome new friends, so we welcome the state of California with open arms. We're ready to do business.
We're sure that at the end of this meeting, we'll be talking about business, about trade, about investment opportunities.
At the end, a consensus was reached to deepen partnerships, leverage diaspora expertise, and expand sustainable investment flows into Nigeria. Now, the Southern African leaders have pledged to expand manufacturing, modernize agriculture, and speed up energy transition as part of efforts to deepen regional integration. Meeting in Antananarivo under the theme Advancing Industrialization, Agricultural Transformation and Energy Transition for a Resilient SADC. The summit marked Madagascar's first time hosting since joining the bloc 20 years ago. President Andre Rajoelina, who took over the rotating chairmanship from Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa, called the gathering historic and urged member states to push industrialization and intra-regional trade. SADC aims to raise manufacturing's share of GDP to 30% by 2030, up from the current 11%, with South Africa as the main industrial hub. Agriculture, which makes up a third of GDP and supports most of the region's population, also came into focus amid concerns that 60 million people remained food insecure in 2024. Leaders stressed the need for mechanization and renewable energy investments to drive growth and resilience. The summit builds on outcomes from the recent SADC industrialization work, where governments and private sector stakeholders reinforced commitments to value chains, energy transition, and the bloc's long-term roadmap for integration. A powerful tribute to Pan-African icon Marcus Garvey has been unveiled as the Nyenkem Museum in Ada, Ghana, celebrating his enduring fight against new colonialism and his vision for global black unity. Details with Justin Bemunyi.
In a vibrant ceremony filled with music, movement, and meaning, the Nyenkem Museum revealed a striking new portrait of Marcus Garvey, the Jamaican-born revolutionary who championed black pride, economic independence, and the unity of the African diaspora. Dozens gathered to paint the sculpture, a communal act symbolizing shared responsibility in preserving black history.
Marcus Garvey stood for the unification of people of African descent. We are using his name with the permission of his son, Dr. Julius Garvey, and then his legacy to continue to bring people together in our ancestor veneration ceremony that we are doing for them.
Beneath the portrait, a series of figurines were placed representing the collective spirit and solidarity of African peoples. Artist and sculptor Nkwame Akoto Bamfo, who led the creation, says Garvey was chosen not just as a hero, but as an ancestor.
The message is that it takes the community to uphold our heroes, and our heroes are our ancestors. Our ancestors currently, some of them have been ignored because their names have been tainted.
He was a black nationalist.
Neville Buchanan, director of the Marcus Mosiah Garvey Foundation, called for deeper recognition of Garvey's impact, particularly in Ghana, where his legacy is etched into the very flag. Marcus Garvey's legacy continues to inspire movements around the world. And now, through this tribute in Ghana, his message of unity and liberation takes on new life for the generations to come. Justin Bemunyi, NTAi News.
The 12 Nigerian men stranded in the Central African Republic, whose video went viral some 3 weeks ago, have finally returned home. It was an emotionally laden moment for the rescued Nigerians as they narrated their ordeal while on a visit to the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. Deborah Balagbubu has details.
Was a hard life as the returnees shared their harsh ordeal in the war-torn nation. They alleged that despite owing them 11 months of salaries, the Chinese employers subjected them to many forms of deprivation, including sexual abuse while in the Central African Republic. Leader of the group, Igorigo Freedom, said they had suffered a lot in the past 20 months and are grateful for the support from the Nigerian government and the NTAi intervention.
When that went on, we were still patient until the work stopped. And when the work stopped, they said we should remain in the bush there. To our surprise, they evacuated 4 Chinese. And I went to the commandant, the military there, that they should not allow the people to evacuate the 2 remaining 2 Chinese. That if they left, they would not care for us again. Then they came for another Chinese, they took him away to Bangui. And when they wanted to do that, some of us who have been agitating to come back to Nigeria, demanding for our passport for almost 4 months, wanted to follow the truck. But they were intimidated with rifles and the way soldiers operate. So we have to hand back. Then at the end of the day, they removed the last Chinese. So that is when I said, okay, let us call the attention of our brothers in Nigeria.
We're glad you're home.
Thank you.
Put the experience, learn from your experience, put it behind more, demand for justice for you. And I'm sure when we tell them here, they should be able to find those people and give them the right kind of treatment. So life itself is an experience. But the most important thing, you are alive to tell your stories.
The NTAi boss condemned the acts as inhumane and assured that the matter would be pursued to ensure justice is served in line with the citizen diplomacy of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. In Abuja, Deborah Balagugu, NTAi News.
You're watching the news on NTAi International, reaching you from our studios in Abuja. We take a break. Do stay. The federal government has reaffirmed commitment to the African Union's Declaration on Africa's Development. The African Union has called on member states to allocate sufficient funding to the agricultural sector to boost food production and reduce reliance on imports. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
In 2023, African Union member states signed a treaty in Maputo, Mozambique, pledging to allocate 10% of their annual budgets to agriculture to achieve a 6% annual growth in agricultural productivity. In 2024, a review in Kampala, Uganda, revealed that most African nations have not made significant investments in agriculture. The treaty was redefined, and the leaders produced a document that will aid in achieving the set goals. Now, key stakeholders in Nigeria's agricultural sector convened to discuss strategies for meeting the AU treaty's objectives. The meeting, chaired by the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, emphasized President Tinubu's commitment to accelerating food production in Nigeria.
Nigeria has committed substantial investment in the agricultural sector through various initiatives to increase production and productivity, enhance commodity value chains, create jobs, improve livelihoods, reduce post-harvest losses.
The session also reviewed 2025-2027 National Agri-Food Systems Investment Plan. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTAi News.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has returned to Nigeria from a short vacation during which he attended the 6th World Conference of Speakers of Parliaments, organized by the Inter-Parliamentary Union in Geneva. He also spent part of the vacation in London. Speaking on arrival at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport in Abuja Monday morning, Akpabio assures Nigerians of robust legislative engagements with the executive and other stakeholders for the well-being of the country.
Parliamentary Union meeting. This was something that happens once every 5 years. And we use that opportunity to highlight the achievements of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So we are looking at the post-oil economy, post-gas economy. What can we do? We must exist. And so that's what the tax reform has done. And we also looked at the most vulnerable in the society. We are tinkering with parts of the Constitution to see where we can include more women in the parliament. Mr. President has gone on diplomatic shuttles to try to bring more dividends of democracy to Nigeria. So it's important that I stay at home with the Vice President.
Now, the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, in collaboration with the Imokode Foundation and the Oil Producers Trade Section, has launched the 2nd edition of the Civil Service Directors Training Program. Haman Jabani reports that the initiative is part of the ongoing reforms to strengthen leadership capacity within the Federal Civil Service.
The training program builds on the success of the maiden edition and reflects the collective commitment of government and private sector partners to enhance efficiency, professionalism, and accountability in public administration. This year's training, which is centered on policy writing and policy review, is to see that the directors are equipped with the knowledge and skills to design policies that are not only technically sound, but also practical, evidence-based, and responsive to the needs of citizens. The Ike Omokoje Foundation and the OPTS have continued to play a significant role in supporting this transformative agenda.
We're expecting to see more collaboration in that policy development. We're expecting to also see outdated policies being reviewed. We're expecting to see that plans come out of these policies that are beginning to be written, and that from next year, when ministries are making their plans and budgets, we can clearly see that the budgets are made based on plans that have been developed from the policies that have been reviewed.
In the immediate, what's the impact on the quality of policy that comes out from our institutions in the Federal Civil Service? And in the longer term, what kind of operating environment will these policies create? And that's in the measurement of their implementation and the impact to the ordinary man on the streets in Nigeria.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary Career Management Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, emphasized that effective policies are the backbone of governance and directors must be well prepared to drive reforms. As strong, citizen-focused policies promote trust, transparency, and sustainable national growth.
The renewed hope agenda of Mr. President has priorities that we need to, deliver for the Nigerian people. And by training those that are charged with the responsibility of bringing up policies, reviewing policies to make sure that they are relevant and fit for purpose, or they need to be changed at some point or tweaked to make sure they meet the aspirations of the current administration and also of Nigerians.
The second edition of the Civil Service Director Training Program represents more than a learning exercise. It is a bold step towards institutional renewal and improved governance. Over 150 directors are participating in the training that will last for 3 days. Haman Jabani, NTAi News.
As Nigerians grapple with rising costs of fuel, a group of engineering students in Sokoto is turning innovation into action, building an electric vehicle from scratch to showcase the power of homegrown solutions. Here is Justin Bemui with the details.
This is a footage showing the students assembling the vehicle's components before taking it on a test drive. A project, they say, underscores the importance of science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM in addressing national challenges. One of the lead students on the project, Atahiru Zaki, says it symbolizes self-reliance, creativity and the potential for innovation.
Growing up in Sokoto State, we've seen many cars moving around, but one thing was very common. They were all fuel-powered cars. There was a technological advancement in the world. EVs, electric vehicles. I was very surprised, and I thought that why can't we make ours?
For Fatima Bello Yahaya, the car is more than just a prototype. It represents a path toward reducing Nigeria's heavy dependence on fuel.
I wanted to change the mindset of our forefathers and some people that girls are only kept at home and can't do anything except staying home. So I just wanted to change their mindset on that girls can do everything and they are sometimes even above boys.
The project also highlights the role of young women in engineering. One student said she joined to challenge stereotypes.
Because some people are underestimating us, seeing us wearing our hijabs, seeing us reciting Quran, thinking we don't know how to do anything. But I came up with this so as to show the world that we can do a lot of things.
We're in Sokoto State in Nigeria. It's not a very popular state. So making a difference means that making an electric vehicle means that I'm making something that will make Sokoto State stand out among the whole Nigeria.
The innovation comes at a critical time as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) has hiked petrol prices twice in just 4 days. Justin Bemunyi, NTAi News.
And Nigeria's telecommunications industry is set to attract $1 billion worth of investments before the end of the year as the country strengthens grip on a formidable digital economy. These and many others were revealed in a strategic engagement between media executives and the executive vice chairman of the Nigeria Communications Commission in Abuja. Ayodeji Makinde reports.
The Nigeria Communications Commission emphasized its commitment to enforcement and transparency, managing over 1,000 operators nationwide. NCC Executive Vice Chairman Aminu Maida reviewed plans to release consumer satisfaction compliance and service quality indices aimed at boosting accountability and investor confidence.
Has an aspiration to build 90,000 kilometers of fiber, which is going to bring in approximately $2 billion of investment into the country. So what we need to grow this industry is fresh investment.
Issues like failed top-ups, confusing data plans, high call rates, fiber cuts, and restricted access to telecom sites are under review, with a directive to all providers to simplify tariffs and data bundle plans.
Nobody is stealing the data. It was more of a perception issue. And every time we had them engage with their customers, there was this realization that flicking of YouTube I'm doing is consuming so much data. When I just open my hotspot and I allow everyone to connect, don't you realize that the person that is using your hotspot, are you in control of what he's doing?
The NCC reiterated that only verified and registered numbers remain active across networks. With over 100 million connected users and growing concerns over data consumption, tips on managing usage were shared. In Abuja, Ayodeji, Makinde, NTAi News.
Now, on a sad note, the Vice President Kashim Shettima and Governor Babagana Umar Zulum were among hundreds of sympathizers at the funeral of Mohammed Mudumanga held in Maiduguri. The deceased was brother-in-law to the Vice Presidents. The funeral prayer was attended by the Vice Presidents Kashim Shettima, Governor Babagana Umara, Chief Whip of the Senate Mohammed Tahir Mungunu, Senator Kakashi Hulawan, Member representing Maiduguri Metropolitan at the House of Representatives Abdul Qadir Rahiz, and Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kari. Also in attendance were members of the Borno State House of Assembly as well as the State Executive Council, top government functionary, politicians, ulamas and members of the business community. And that does it on News at 7 at this time on NTAi International. We thank you for watching. I'm Lami Ali. Bamidele John has been the sign language interpreter. Do have a good evening.